Hey guys, David here with the Whiskey Rebellion. How are you gents doing this evening?
Good. Hanging in there, brother. Hanging in there.
Hanging in there. Good. Is this our first show of the new year?
It is.
That is
It
Yes,
is
wild. I
sir.
first
know,
of the
guys.
year.
Anyone who's watching or will watch, I know we've kind of been out over the holidays. I don't know if we quite did any proper announcements about that, but it's us and we do what we do. So we're back. Welcome back. Happy New Year's, everybody. Um,
Yeah.
That's it. It is good to have you guys here. I know a little bit of a thin crew. We had a couple people weren't able to make it, but been a while since we did a show. We wanted to do a show. Here we are doing a show, drinking whiskey. Speaking of, what are you gentlemen drinking tonight? Gino, what you got?
James E. Pepper, straight bourbon.
Yes.
It's beautiful bottle. I'm a little bit PO'd at the company. This is kind of like
With stenciling or whatever. You can
stenciled
probably,
on there instead of just a sticker that I can peel off and save
probably
this
hit it with some
wrap.
paint there or something and get it off of there if
Yeah,
you really want
it's
to.
like I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out because I'd love to keep this bottle. But
Pretty
no,
well.
very good stuff. 53.2% alcohol. It's
Nice.
very delicious, very approachable, very drinkable. It has all your classic bourbon notes to it. Not very spicy at all for being over 100 proof. Uh, very caramel, very vanilla, very delicious. It's one that does not last long on my shelf at all. And I'm also
Fantastic.
subbing
Yeah.
that out.
Where did you
now
get?
and
Where
then.
did you like? Where's that out of? Because I've never even heard of
I
that.
don't know. I've never really looked into that. I
Okay.
think I'll have to look it up. I'll look it up. I'm not going to say something in there, but I'm thinking it might be from Lux Row.
Very nice. Very nice.
Chuck has got the
Chuck in the
Mexican.
comments on the Michter's 10-year bourbon tonight.
Come on, Chuck, come join us, brother.
Come join us, Chuck. Anyway, he may not be able to, but anyway, he did come up with a topic, and we'll get to that. So
Yes.
appreciate your participation in whatever form or fashion that you were able, sir. We appreciate you, man. Appreciate our Godfather, Billy, sir.
100%.
What are
So
you drinking on tonight?
tonight I am not drinking. Sometimes with me, I don't like to drink when the state of mind is not there or if I'm feeling particularly tired.
Mm.
Because it kind of puts me in a zombie kind of type mood. So I
I
had
feel
a
you.
little beer earlier, but other than that, I'm not having anything tonight because when I have a drink and a cigar, I really like to be in the right state of mind
Mhm.
so I can really enjoy it because it is a passion of mine.
I feel
It's
that. I feel
it's
that.
not work, it's really my time to just let it all go. So, but I do have a little bit of announcement. I'm not drinking tonight, but this is the bottle for the new expression of Cafe 305 bourbon barbecue sauce.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
So you guys know what the last bottle looked like. So we switched it
Oh,
up a
yeah.
little bit. So I will be dropping details on that. It's in the barrel right now doing its thing.
Fantastic.
So that will be out before summer, way before summer.
Oh, that sounds
Cool.
delicious.
Yeah. But
Yeah. Springtime Q season, man.
the last drink I had was Eagle Rare. And thanks, speaking of the Godfather, he got me a bottle of Michter's, a very special bottle. And I brought that in for the new year, and it was absolutely fantastic. I literally had two pours out of it.
Uh-huh.
I put the top back on it. And so, me bottling sauce and whatnot, I actually took a plastic sleeve, put over it, and sealed it back up to keep
Sealed it up.
myself from drinking it. And
That's
it's
good,
like
huh?
it's
Well, I know
it's
you're a Mixed
oh my
fanboy.
god, I am such a Mictus fanboy.
I feel you,
It's
man.
not
Mhm.
even
This is good
funny.
shit.
It is some good
Yep.
stuff.
It's a
And
good
it's a
pour.
bottle that I've never seen in a wild. I've never seen it anywhere, as a matter of fact. So again, shout out to the Godfather for that. That was something really, really nice. And it was hard to keep from drinking that bottle because when Chuck was here in South Florida,
Uh-huh.
he brought that down for me. And let me tell you, it took every ounce of resiliency I had.
Your maximum willpower.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. So I mean, it's been a great 2024 was great. Business increased tremendously since last September. It's been nonstop. Even up to yesterday, we had an event at a Jeep cheap shop down in Miami. I tell you,
Saw the post on that.
it was pandemonium, completely sold out.
That's wild.
And
We're kind of losing your audio a little bit there.
are you?
Yeah, that's better. That's better. You're fine now. Yeah.
So it was a great event, and we're going to be doing that every month. So just blessings on top of blessings. Mercedes, BMW, the market, hey, listen. So nonstop, but again, it's been a wonderful 2024, and 25 doesn't look like it's going to disappoint. But just not drinking tonight. That's all.
That's okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
And we can all take a break.
Yes, sir.
You can do dry January if you really want. I'm certainly not. But I'm not saying you're gonna do that all month or nothing. But
no.
Yeah, no, we ain't doing. I was like, what the hell? Why?
Listen,
we're not gonna drink whiskey.
I might do a dry day, but that's gonna be about
Yeah, exactly.
I might miss a day or two here or there, but
weekend every once in a while, but usually not. But anyway.
What about you, sir? What are you drinking?
Let me tell you guys, first of all, and I will only do this because he's not here. I will sing Jody's praises. He and I hung out yesterday, as you guys saw in the VIP chat. If you're not in the VIP chat, you need to be. And so you can get the inside of all the shit we're talking about and the nonsense and all the fun times. But anyway, so I met Jody here in town. Yesterday we went out to the place we like to go to, Bourbon and Brews, right on the square. It's a cute little place. And I gave him, it's because I'm trying to get shit out of my house. And so I gave him my old like outside space heater, like all those tall ones like that you see in like the back of bars and stuff like that. Outside, like a patio, like the tall ones that's got the little thing on the top. Yeah. So I had one of those and I hadn't used it in years and years. And I was like, I just need to get this out of here. So you want it? He's like, I'm coming up. You want to meet for lunch or whatever? So I met him and he brought me an entire, like, not just like regular, like a big long, like this cardboard box just full of whiskey, like just bottles after bottles. And I'm like, wow, like there's a shitload of whiskey. So I get like, it's so much, I don't have room in my little cabinet for it. So it's just sitting in a box on my dining room table. And when I was getting ready to come up here, I'm like, let's see what we got. Like, cause I haven't even looked through all that completely. There's a bunch of stuff in there. I do not even understand why he has, first of all, because it's stuff that I know he doesn't like for a fact. Like he's got a peated bourbon in there. And I'm like, there's a story there, and we're gonna wait for him to come back. I'm gonna ask him about it. But in the meantime, so as I was, filtering through and checking things out, and it's whiskey and rum and all kinds of stuff in there. But right now, what I pulled was the Leaper's Fork, the straight rye, and I don't think I've had this, or if I did, it was at his house and it was years ago, and I don't remember. And this is 108.9 proof, so it's a little warm over BIB. But it's really tasty. It's really sweet on the front, actually, especially for a rye, which I was surprised by, and just really enjoyable. Nice and balanced. It's a nice one. I don't know why I put it in there. He doesn't really like ryes, so I guess that's why. So thank you to Jody for not wanting to finish that bottle for yourself, so that I can finish it maybe tonight.
There you go.
I was very fortunate that Jody was able to send me a bottle of Leaper's Fork, and yeah. The regular bourbon, delicious stuff. Yeah. I can only imagine.
Yeah, their bottle and bond is really nice. I still have a bottle of that, I think, actually, or a little bit of a bottle of it.
As a matter of fact, I have a bottle of it sitting at the very, very top of my shelf, which is still standing, by the way. So give me props for that.
Yeah, good for you. Good job. Good job. You don't have to buy all Sexton.
Yeah, right. I guarantee you that bottle's probably at least 3 years old, and I will not open it until I get my hands on another one.
You know what? Oh, first of all, Daniel.
Hey,
Sports Highlights. He's our man, Daniel. There he is. Thank you for joining us, Daniel. Thank you for watching.
Yes, sir.
Hope you're doing well. What was the other guy's name that was joining there for a while?
There was another guy.
Podcast thing.
Yeah, that's right. He was
on YouTube.
He was the Bourbon podcast, but professional. I don't know, how does he say it? Like, not a bunch of fucking around. Like, the guy knows what he's doing, kind of thing. But yeah. What the hell was I going to say? I forgot I was going to say something, and it has now.
Something about Leaper's Fork?
Right, Leaper's Fork. I also have a bottle that's about 3 years old. Actually, no, it's probably older than that. The last time I took a drink out of that bottle, it was the night before I went for my back surgery in 2021. So I've had mine about as long as you've had yours. And I just, because there's just a little bit left in the bottle, and I'm like, kind of want to save it to share with somebody who's not had something like that before and would appreciate it. So I'm just waiting to knock that one out with somebody. But yeah, it's good stuff. It's really good
And
stuff.
I will say this: anybody who gets a chance to visit the little town of Lever's Fork, do yourself a favor, walk through it. The art galleries, the whole little town. I don't think the whole town is 10 miles square, but Lever's Fork in itself is an absolutely beautiful place. The town itself, the distillery, I mean, it is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of going with Jody. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah. Lever's Fork is like a nice little like nook of a
Yes.
of a mini town, basically.
Yeah.
But it's not like a, so in Tennessee, a lot of Tennessee is rural, and it's like one of those like one stoplight kind of towns kind of thing, and it's like very. Lever's Fork's not quite like that. It's a little bit upscale, if I could say it that way. But it's a tiny little quaint little nook, and in the state between Spring Hill and Franklin.
I guarantee you, if you wanted to go to Lever's Fork to get away from the world wouldn't be able to find you.
That's literally where people go to do that. There are people who will, retire to a place like that. This cute little place, and it's a little bit exclusive because of the housing prices and stuff like that. But not besmirching anyone, anything like this. This is how it is. But yeah, the distillery's there, and it's a cute little spot. It's a good place. I actually haven't been to the distillery myself. I need to go sometime. But yeah. Anyway, so our topic for tonight, and Gina and I were actually talking about this a little bit before. We may not have a whole lot of answers on this one, but like, what were the biggest like overhyped flops, disappointments, what have you, in terms of bottles? He said pick 5. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna. I know I'm not gonna have 5, because one, it's pretty hard to disappoint me when it's alcohol. Like,
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
It's like, well, it still gets you drunk, right?
David's like, a win is a win.
I was like, I'm taking the W here all day long, man. I'm good.
Oh man, I love it. I don't think I have 5, only because I'm a little bit of a stickler, because I kind of stick to the roads that I'm used to. I step out on some different things if I can find it. There was a time here where Eagle Rare was plentiful and stuff like that, but you guys, because of where you live at, you guys get your hands on more. What's the word I'm looking for here? You guys have a better variety. We have the standards.
Yeah, we're a little spoiled in Tennessee.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of different stuff that you can get. We just happen to have stuff everybody wants, but it's severely overpriced.
Yeah.
So if you want the Blantons, if you want the Eagles, if you want the Stags and all those big high dollar names, you can get them. But I mean, when I tell you they'll literally put you over a barrel, you're talking about for a bottle of Eagle Rare. Now I just saw it. I think it was about $175. When we all know that's a $40, $50 bottle.
Yeah. For Eagle Rare?
60? Yeah, brother.
The last time I paid money for Eagle Rare, I paid $38.
Oh, there you go. So just see it like this: if Eagle Rare was,
that's how it goes. Sorry, go ahead.
I paid $89 for my last bottle.
Before things went wacko.
Yeah.
The big Magnum of Eagle Rare, the big Magnum.
Yeah.
I got that for $80. So just imagine.
Exactly.
Even if you saw a Magnum, how much it would be going for. Stags Junior's like $320. Stag Senior's over $1,000.
Cannot.
Eagle Rare 17. You got to hit somebody over the head.
Yeah.
That's but if I think something, thanks to social media, I think something that was overrated last year, and it could have even been the year before, Traveler was overrated. Severely overrated. A lot of it was a new bottle, New Riff, I think that's the name of it.
That's
They had a
one on
couple.
my agenda.
They had some that were
New
okay.
Rift as I think they've gone up in my estimation over the years. But
Really?
some of their earlier,
That's what
because
lit-
when New
what
Rift was like brand new,
It was horrible.
they
garbage.
I didn't personally think they were bad, but I think they were trying to do too much too fast, basically, and a lot of their products
Pushing
was
it
too
out
young.
the door
Yeah,
to make
Yeah.
a buck.
and it was too young, but they were just trying to stay in business or whatever. And some of their offerings were
And
subpar for that.
I can understand that you want to just throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah,
But at one point, new Riff here was $17, $18. I went and bought like 10 bottles for somebody who was just dying for it. And I was like, really?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Somebody,
No.
you know, a lot of times I thought about this the other day. That a lot of times somebody's impression of like what they were drinking, a lot of times it becomes a little bit experiential. Like I was with really good friends and I had a really great night hanging out with my buddies that night, and we were drinking, you know, New Riff or whatever. And someone else was like, New Riff's kind of like whatever. But I had a great experience, and I associate that mentally with that bottle now, or that expression, or whatever, you know. So and you kind of put those associations together, and you know, that's where a lot of, I think, personal bias can come in too. Of like,
No, and I think you're right because you know if you can associate any good memory with a food or a beverage, you're not gonna ever see it as bad.
right,
You know,
Yeah.
whatever that you had at that point in time.
and that works positive and negative. I mean,
Yeah,
think,
for sure.
The thing about that too.
do I even need to mention Jody and Jack Daniels?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, because you can't even say the words. He's about to text me right now, probably. Like, you know, like, and it sets him off, right? And he has overwhelming negative response to that. But like, there's an association, and it's not actually about the whiskey.
One of those things too is like when you have those expectations because you were out with the buddies, you were out with these people, and you were enjoying this. It was great. Everything was great. The atmosphere was all perfect. Everything was good. Then you go and get the bottle, and you got the bar set. I want to get back to that level.
Yeah.
And
you go back to it, and it's not
quite as good as I thought it was.
Yeah. And that was going to be my next comment. So those are the two bottles, and this include myself. I'm not Xing myself out from this. As a group, as a collective, we're very, very privileged as to what we get to drink, including myself, because I have bottles that I don't think there's another one in the state of Florida on the shelf anywhere. So when we have such a wide selection of really good bottles and we taste something that everybody else is thrilled over, we're like,
yeah.
You know, if you drive a Bugatti every day, you get into a Porsche, you're not really that impressed.
Right.
You know?
And that's like we're delving into a life philosophy thing here that I will.
Yeah,
true.
But to your point, I've seen that the fact that people cannot appreciate things anymore because they've had sort of like their barometer for impressiveness just blown out. Like, so you can't impress somebody who's got a Bugatti. You can't, if say I've got like a pontoon boat out on the lake and I'm having the time of my absolute life. Someone who owns a yacht's gonna look at that and be like, whatever, you know.
What's this show?
I'm like, but I'm having the time of my life, and he's bored. You know, it's a matter of appreciating what you have.
No, and you're absolutely right. You know,
I don't have a pontoon boat. I'm just saying,
and that can fold over into a lot of things, and not to get too far off track, but like you guys have this crazy weather. We're here today. It was like 72. There wasn't a cloud in the sky.
Bite me, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I'm spoiled, and you're absolutely right with that. And even like the analogy with cars, you could have, like, I know Chuck has a really nice Mustang. Mm-hmm. That car would be so much more valuable here than a Bugatti, because I kid you not, I could take
American muscle. Man.
Yeah, I could take you to South Beach. We don't even have to go that far, and I could show you 3 Bugattis. Like, just I kid you not. It's gonna sound crazy. I don't live in a rich neighborhood. I'm not rich, but there's a guy like 3 or 4 doors down. I kid you not, has a Lambo sitting in this driveway. So it's like, show me something that somebody really took some time and effort and put something into. So when it comes to bourbon, I feel the same way, and I like something that's more consistent than something that's blown out. You know,
Yeah, I feel you.
I can remember when I first got into bourbon how I couldn't wait to get my hands on a bottle of Eagle Rare and Blands. I thought I was going to be it,
Yeah.
but now it's been more than a year since I've had Blands,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sitting right there. I walk
Yeah.
past it every day.
Oh,
You're like, it's okay.
There we go. Get my
It-
fingers
it- I mean,
the right way.
And it's not
There they
bad
are.
at all.
Those are the ones that are on the shelf.
whiskey.
There's two more back there behind them, but yeah.
Chuck had a couple of comments.
Okay, but it is.
Yes. Yeah. Chuck was going through. Chuck actually was staying on schedule of all of this, there or on mission or whatever. So Chuck was talking about these were his biggest disappointments, the most overhyped ones. So he said he got tried Old Grand at 16.
Good, huh?
He said he tried it, but he didn't buy, which doesn't mean it was bad. It means it was underwhelming.
Not worth the price point, Chuck.
Yeah. So I feel that. I respect it. And then his next one was Heaven Hill Grain to Glass Weeded and
I heard that.
It's expensive for what it is. Because that describing that makes my mouth water. Like that's something I absolutely want. But then I see the second sentence, and it's like, okay, so not bad, but overhyped. Like that's also a thing. There can be a product that is excellent that is just not worth what they're asking for. Whatever or anything.
Blue Run.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's $100 a bottle, no matter where you go. And at best,
I think about that like barrel bourbon. Every time I look at it, I'm like, it's good. I'm not starting at a bill for this. Like I just can't make myself do it.
No.
And my palate is not as advanced as some of you other guys, but I would say that's probably a $60, $70 bottle all day.
I would do
the
60,
one that I enjoy on the barrel front, the Mizunara, I'm gonna butcher that name. Someone with a Japanese oak, orange label.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Mizunara cask. Chuck will correct me.
Sure.
That is my favorite barrel expression. I enjoy it. I love the depth of flavor I get out of that one. I pay $80 for that, and to me, that's right where it should be. Mm-hmm. Now I know the other expressions of a barrel like Seagrass and some of those others, they're over 100, some are over $200. It's like, yeah, that's nice. I'm sure they taste great. I'm not putting my money there.
Yeah, I hear you.
I agree with Billy. Yeah, Travel.
On Travel, yeah, I think we were of a mind on Travel. That was really my big one of being like, it wasn't bad, but I understand how much they hyped it up.
It was good. It was not bad for what it was.
It's absolutely serviceable whiskey. You go to a bar, they've got Traveler, and then they've got Jack Daniels and Jim Beam or whatever. I'm going to go to Traveler every time. In those situations.
It just didn't deserve the hype that it was getting.
Right, exactly.
And it's all because Chris Stapleton, that was his thing, and he had the song and all this and all that.
Yeah.
But you got to give them credit for how they marketed it.
They marketed the hell out of that.
To them, they bought it cheap and sold it high.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure they were able to make a crap ton of it.
There were taters standing in line for that shit, dude.
Yeah, and I mean, even here, I don't think it was a $30. I think it was like a $35 bottle.
Yeah, and that's about. I think that's about what you give for it, between 35 and 40.
Yep.
So what we got here?
Baker's 7 high rye
bourbon.
I like Baker's.
Okay, I like Baker's.
I guess it's.
But I haven't tried that one.
See, again, this sounds like this is a case of it's not bad. It's just overhyped and overpriced, probably.
Yeah,
and there is a difference,
Right, and I don't even think I wouldn't even say Traveler's bad, but overhyped. No. But I will give Traveler one.
Also agree with that, Chuck. Yeah. He says Traveler's like 25.
No, I think it's a little bit better than $25.
I've had pretty solid whiskey for under $30, man. That's kind of where I'm at. If you can charge, $18
I would pay $30 a bottle for it.
Evan Williams.
That's just
like
what I did like about Traveler is if you wanted to buy 2 bottles of it and gift it to somebody for a birthday or for a party, you wouldn't be out too bad monetarily and still make a good showing. It's not like you got and not knocking, Costco's whiskey, Kirkland, whatever. But I would rather get Traveler and be like, hey, here you go. You know? But yeah, I mean, and again, I don't think anything was particularly bad. I don't think our palate will let
No.
that do it to us. But it's like Chuck was saying, a lot of things are not worth the price. And
Exactly.
for us, I listen, despite it being a wonderful year business wise, I'm not paying $200 for a bottle.
Yeah, I mean, just because you had a good year doesn't mean you lost your
Depends on the
sense,
bottle.
right?
Well, I mean, listen, if it's something that I absolutely let me check myself, because if somebody said, "Hey, I got this Michter's,
Mm. Well, that's it.
this
That's your
one or
jam, though.
this one, I'm gonna pay 200, and it'll catch me on a really, really good day, slightly over that." So let
Man,
me not say I
we're having some
wouldn't do
connection
it.
issues.
Again,
I understand. I understand what you're saying, but yeah,
No, I got
Yeah.
you on that because it was like, yeah, I know there's Bloodos, and it's like, yeah, it's like, yes, I want those. But
yeah, we're gonna go
for
to Chuck
me-
next one. Chuck was ready for this one. I'm sorry. Jim, you
Yeah.
want to do yours first?
no, it's okay. Bourbon and rye. Is that not
Yeah,
any good, or
I'll
is it
get
not
yours.
worth the price point, Chuck?
The Donkey Creek. It's
Let me
bourbon
know
and
about that
rye?
because I
It's like in
haven't
a
tried that
blend.
one yet, and I've been tempted to. But
Apparently, you
mine
didn't know
has nothing to do with value. It was something I was just totally disappointed with because I was starting to turn myself on to New Riff, and I liked a lot of the stuff that they were doing, a lot of their later stuff that they were doing and coming out with.
Yeah,
But
you were
this one
showing
right
up.
here, this is a single malt Kentucky whiskey.
I am so tempted if I see that because I like
You make
single
it up
malt.
north, this bottle is yours. There's only
I need to.
this much out of this bottle. And Dave, in the pre-show, I was showing you, and I've since
Look.
wiped the dust off of this damn
Yeah.
bottle. That's all that's been out of this bottle because it's mislabeled. This is a single malt American Scotch whiskey.
Yeah,
This is
okay.
so peat forward. I'm not going to drink it because I like a nice light peated Scotch, but I don't like a heavily peated Scotch. I'm not into drinking that smoke.
Yeah,
It's just not what I'm
no,
looking
it's not for everybody.
for. And
The
you know,
New Riff
I
single
saw
malt,
it there, New Riff. I mean, it was nice, beautiful looking bottle. Everything was nice on. It's like, oh yeah, da 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 da. No. And of course, Traveler. I bid onto the hype. I think I paid like when I got my bottle of Traveler, I think it was a little bit over $40. Nothing wrong with it. Way overhyped.
Yeah.
Now it's way available.
Yeah. Here, the thing about Traveler, and I had to. It was probably might have been early last month. Was the last time I had any. The thing about Traveler, like again, you're hanging out at a bar, and they don't necessarily have a great selection.
No.
For me, the thing that really makes Traveler, again, not worth the hype, but a good value is the fact that it is easy to drink and it doesn't taste cheap.
that it does.
But it's not expensive to get a pour. Like, and that's kind of where I land. Like, it is definitely
It's pretty good in
bottle. You know what I mean? Like, that's
what I like to
if I
say
wanted to
about
drink
Traveler,
5 of these in a night, I can live with myself.
Yeah.
when I get the
Traveler
pour.
doesn't taste like perfume or cologne. You ever been like putting cologne on yourself and a touch of it gets on your lip or in your mouth? That kind of bitterness type of deal. It happens. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just clumsy. But yeah, it's like, it didn't do that.
Yeah, I feel you.
Just
Chuck said,
okay.
Now Creek bourbon and rye is
Okay.
a combination of the two. It's just not good. The Baker 7 High Rye is the same. Taste is outputting. So it's not that they weren't just not worth what they were charging. They were just just wasn't that good at any price. So
And what I think
I'll put it up now. We don't have to say it now, but I'll
Woodford Reserve, really way too expensive. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'll bet it was good. I bet that shit. I've never
I
had.
tell you what,
Woodford Reserve has never passed my lips and caused a disappointment.
My wife actually surprised me a little bit after Christmas. She came home with the Woodford Reserve with the Madeira cask. Woodford Reserve.
Madeira. Okay.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's all I can say on that one.
That sounds
That
good.
is flipping delicious.
So
She won't tell me the exact price, but yeah.
So is it safe to say that the cost of a bottle can heavily influence whether you feel like A, you'll buy it again, and two, it's worth its weight in gold, if you will, as far as taste.
Yes.
So
Oh.
that's a definite yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like
And a lot of times,
1,000% yes for me. Is like
a lot of times I will not splurge not knowing the brand.
yeah, exactly. Like
I
if I
would have to try something else in that brand that I truly enjoyed, and I was wanting to see if this was a little bit better than that.
Yeah, I do that pretty frequently actually, because like I'll be, you know, I can be a little bit adventurous. I'll see something I've never heard of before and be like, you know what, let's see what happens, kind of thing. Like, you know, maybe I'll look up intel, maybe I won't. I tend to at least see if someone's added anything positive to say about it. But if there's multiple expressions of something, I'm gonna get whatever the low end one is, like what their baseline, their normal thing, right?
Right.
You know, and if that's decent, okay, maybe I'll go back and try one of their other expressions. I did this actually. Well, I haven't gone back yet, but like the Rana Zalco rum, which is like a combination of rums from a bunch of different like Caribbean nations, right? And I was like, they had an expression that was like $40, and another one that was like 75, almost 80. I was like, well, I'm not messing with that one. If I don't know if the $35, $40 one is any good or not, if that's good, I might go back and try this other one. And that's what I did. I tried. I was like, you know what? That's actually pretty decent. If I see that one again at that higher expression, that higher age expression, I might go pick it up because they did a good job with this one, basically.
And I will say this when you talk about different expressions. So my bourbon barbecue sauce, the first one I put out, initially I was going to do one every year.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, you know what? I'll do a run for 2 years and then I'll do another one.
Mm-hmm.
That way I can really sit here and develop what the next one is going to be like.
For sure.
Because I didn't
for
just
people who don't know, for people who are not familiar with your process with that, how do you go about producing that sauce?
So here's the kicker. With the bourbon barbecue sauce, I only do 100 bottles. So I know exactly how much I got to produce.
I want to.
And what happens in the process, I age it in the barrel, and there's some other stuff in there. The kicker is
you're talking about an ex-bourbon barrel, basically.
Yeah.
And you're aging your sauce in it.
No, like I got a real Buffalo Trace bourbon barrel.
Mm-hmm.
But when I put the sauce in there, I keep it under refrigeration.
Mm-hmm.
Only because alcohol will kill just about any kind of bacteria, whereas a sauce could hold the bacteria.
For sure.
Yeah. So under refrigeration, it keeps it where nothing happens to it.
Gotcha.
And I'm constantly testing it for any like parasites or the taste of it. So it is quite a process. The thing, I don't want to be mediocre, and that's hard for me because so we see a lot of these companies where they will put out expression after expression and they kind of just like New Riff. I feel like they just threw stuff against the wall, right?
Yeah.
I could have easily threw some stuff against the wall and put out a bourbon barbecue sauce every year. I can put out a new sauce every month, probably for the next 3 years. But there are sauces that I'm not impressed with. I haven't gone back to fix them to where I'm impressed with them. They'll just stay in the book, plain and simple.
Mm.
I have a really, really kick-ass burger sauce. It'll never see the light of day. You know, the sweet and tangy or the Kansas City that you guys get, just think that's number 10 or 12 on the scale of how many I made to get to that point. So number 1 through 8 or 9 or 10, I burnt recipes because it wasn't enough for me.
It wasn't good enough
to keep it. Yeah.
No.
So going through that process, the bottling, the labeling, and after we're off air, I'll show you guys the label. I don't want to reveal that just yet to the general public.
The people aren't ready.
Cool 5 people that might be watching us.
No.
So I'll show you guys the new label, but the bottle, the label, and I have to completely depart from the last bourbon barbecue sauce. So you guys have had the bourbon barbecue sauce, and you guys really, really enjoy it. So imagine me departing completely away from that and finding something that I feel like is equally as good. And I'll give you guys this. 2 things. The hardest, most complicated sauce I ever made was the steak sauce, which is still a big seller, right?
Yep.
Oh, the steak.
Pain in my ass. I actually hate making that sauce because I never feel like it comes out consistent. I don't know why. I felt like the bourbon barbecue sauce, the first one I put out, I felt like that was my magnum opus, meaning that was my best sauce I ever made ever in my life.
And you just
so now in my head, I have to go and try to outdo that.
You have to try to do, yeah.
I feel like I've done it, but I'm gonna have to taste the finished product to be like,
okay.
But here's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to let you guys be the judge of it, because if I do it, I'm probably never gonna be impressed with it. Because I really do feel like the first bourbon barbecue sauce is like my magnum opus.
I respect the shit out of that.
Can I ever get up over this? So,
damn, yeah. Okay, I gotta have some of that.
Yeah, I'll give you guys some.
Magnificent, honestly, and like the fact that you struggle with the process to like refine this and turn this coal into a diamond kind of situation, and like that you hem and haw over those details. It's like,
yeah,
I'm just here for it. Like whatever we're gonna end up with this,
beat the last.
It's gonna be great. Like it's gonna be fucking fantastic to a guy.
I know.
I'm gonna be delighted.
The thing about it, Dave, but the thing about it, Dave, he thinks he's beat the last one. He's just waiting for vindication. It's like, fuck yeah, man, I got to have that sauce.
But listen, when I tell you it drives other people, I tell my wife when I started doing this one, I was like, listen, you just got to let it mad science at this point. She's like, you're dumb.
I'm going to science the shit out of it, man.
She's like, really? I'm like, yes. She's like, you really think this is not? I'm like, it's not enough. She's like, you're stupid. Like, why? But it's that drive and the passion that I have for what I do that makes me want to keep pushing and striving to do more. People can't get enough of the plum sauce. And you know what? I am so and I hate to sound like a broken record, but I'm so not impressed with plum sauce.
You know what?
I used it tonight. When I made that orange chicken tonight, it called for some barbecue sauce into the sauce for the orange sauce. And so what did I put? I put the plum sauce in. And
I'll tell you,
delicious, brother.
You fuckers are making me hungry.
I have not had plum sauce in over 6 months.
Oh.
And it's sitting in my house and other places by the gallons. And I'm like,
it's just not your vibe, man.
It sounds weird.
Do you like plum sauce in general, or do you just not love yours?
So I
Oriental based, dude. If you're gonna do some Oriental cooking, like say do some flanking steaks, like some you do short ribs all the time. If you do like South Korean short ribs, use that
plum sauce. Holy shit!
Stuff. Listen, I saw a post the other day on Facebook, and I saved it. And it said, because this is like a chef kind of group, and it goes, you work at a restaurant and you come home hungry. And it's like, yeah, if I had to explain it to you, you wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
Nope.
So people will see me, they're like, you're making all this barbecue, how come you're not 800 pounds? I'm like, I have to kill the cow, pick the brisket, trim it, cook it, slice it, and serve it. You don't want it.
You're done. You're done seeing brisket that day.
Pretty much. That's like Rob. Like I understand it more now, But like he'll be like, yeah, this and that, and I cooked all day, blah blah blah, and he's been on for 12 hours or something like that, dealing with everything, and it's like, well, what'd you have for dinner? It's like, oh, I went to the McDonald's drive-thru for dinner. It's like because you're fucking done and you just want to punt.
You're toast. Listen, and I could imagine even with like somebody like Chuck when he has such a educated palate when it comes to bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
I would be intimidated to give him bourbon, because this guy probably knows more about bourbon than most people who's surrounding him. You get what I'm saying? So, hey, try this bottle. I think you'll really like it. And in his mind, he might be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Right. Yeah, and I get worrying about that.
And for me, I don't even judge people's food. When my wife cooks, I don't judge anybody's food.
But see, everyone's probably afraid that you judge their food.
But that's what people are. People are like, please don't judge me. I'm like, dude, I'm not judging you. Listen, if you make me a bowl of cereal, I'm gonna be impressed because it's a meal I didn't have to prepare.
Here, I'm of the opposite effect. Please judge my food and tell me how I can make it.
Well, you're working on improvement, and so you're inviting.
Exactly. That's what I want to know. How can I make it better?
Okay, so
I just made something for. Who's this? I don't know this person.
Got somebody new.
Metro Dubs Co.
We got new.
You are going to close since MGP is producing less.
Ooh.
Okay. MGP.
Forgive I understand what MGP is. I don't know what NDP
sales
is.
Were down.
Someone ameliorate my ignorance here.
Yeah, see if Chuck can help us out with that. So Gino, let me.
NDP is.
Oh, it's Jack Frost.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
All right. Well, hi, John.
Yeah,
but I know that MGP sales are down big time, and they're looking to scale back just because of the economy. But go ahead, Billy. Tell me. Talk to me.
Here's the big thing about making a dish better. I literally can't tell you to make a dish better unless it's so horribly wrong. Where I mean, you put salt instead of sugar. Julia Child did that once, and let me explain to you why. Gino.
I love Julia.
Let me explain to you why. Because the dish that you make, right? If you and I had to make the same dish, and you wrote the recipe, I guarantee you would dog walk me. And it's not about my experience, but you know the dish. If I took a brisket for you and for me, I trimmed them both up, I seasoned them both up, and I put them on a smoker. And I said, okay, Gino, you do what you do, I'm gonna do what I do. We're on the same smoker, right? Side by side. And I tell you, listen, if you want to feed the fire, whatever. But because I know my smoker, just about where I put my smoker is going to give me a better result. I know about rotating a brisket. I know about when to add wood to the fire to keep that constant heat. You might have yours spiked up out the way where it's just going to burn it. It's going to char it. I know how to lay it the right way. So you could make a beef goulash that's absolutely phenomenal. And for me to eat it and be like, okay, this is what you need to do to fix it, there's no fixing it. Right. Unless it's so horribly wrong where you put
really fucked it up.
Yeah, like,
I get it.
And certain things are not going to make a dish bad. Like if you made a beef bourguignon and instead of 3/4 of a bottle, you put the whole bottle of wine in there, it's only going to get better. It's not going to get worse. Really, the only thing that's going to ruin a dish like that, is something being too salty. Or let's say you make a mac and cheese, right? And you use 3 different cheeses and you put a little bit of salt in there. Well, the reason I don't put salt in my mac and cheese because the cheese in itself
already had salt.
Had salt. So you get what I'm saying? Salt is a carrier. Like black pepper is a carrier. So salt, it's like they put a little bit of salt in ice cream to enhance the flavor. You can put a little bit of salt in a lot of things and it'll bring it forward.
Yeah.
But if you put too much nutmeg in something, is it really going to be that bad? Not
Depending.
really. I mean, but you have to put so much that it just goes so far right or so far left that
Gotcha.
it's
I got you.
bad.
I got you.
But if it says a teaspoon and you put a teaspoon and a quarter, no.
Yeah, but the thing,
No.
I'm like a home chef, and it's like, man, tell me where I need to go with it. That's the beauty.
Yeah, I think you're looking for the next. What's the
Yeah,
next?
how can I elevate?
Basically, what's the next tweak or something?
If I can tell you the easiest way to
I mean, I want to
elevate
get
it,
to these comments, but go ahead.
if I can tell you an easy way to alien use better products. So instead of using regular ground beef, right? Use take a New York and or like if you want to make chili, right? Instead of just using regular 80-20 ground beef, take a brisket. It's gonna cost you a little bit more. Get it ground up by the butcher, so you're elevating the product.
Ground biscuit and holy shit.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But no, you think about it.
Oh, I'm hungry.
The brisket is expensive because of how big it is, how much it weighs.
Yeah.
Look at the price per pound.
No, for sure. But you have to think about the intermuscular fat that you get in the brisket that you wouldn't get in a fillet.
There you go. I got you, man.
What you get in the brisket, because I make my burgers out of all my brisket trim. I make my sausages out of my brisket trim. When you bite into one of my burgers, you already know it's not just regular ground beef. This is something different. All right, talk to us about the comments.
Okay, all right. So the comments. So we were talking. So earlier, which I don't know. I don't understand.
Depending on what I'm trying to do, yes.
So he's saying which of these non-distilling producers are going to close since MGP is producing ones?
The little guy.
Yeah. So
the little guy who can't afford.
So he's saying, maybe the little guy.
Markup.
Chuck responded to this comment and basically saying that they're definitely going to close now that the producers are coming back. Tune in next week for the predictions of 2025. I suppose Chuck is predicting there are going to be some closures. Yeah. I would really want to know who, because that could have a pretty significant impact.
Well, here, what you we were talking pre-show, Dave. We were talking about Smooth Ambler, the Old Scout that I've been drinking here the last few days. Old Scout for Smooth Ambler is not their stuff. It's not their distillate. They source that, and they get a good portion of that from MGP.
Is that MGP?
Smooth Ambler is big enough that they can override this hump. But you got other outfits out there that use MGP product. That is what their source is. They do their own thing with it back local, and they market it. It's a small guy that's going to fall by the wayside. That's not going to be able to source that at that price and still make the profit.
For sure.
And that's what's going to hurt.
And that's going to hurt some people for sure.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. It's finally.
Would I put pork in that burger? It depends on what I'm going for. There's a good chance, yes.
He's got. Dude, how many accounts do you have, Jack Frost? I'm just confused at this point.
So
I don't know.
I was like that one. I remember
making sausages. I use brisket and I use pork because in a sausage you want a better fat content.
Yep.
So I'll take a pork butt. I will not trim any of the fat off of it. I will just simply chunk it and ground it. And I will tell this to everybody who's going to get out there and ground their own burgers. For safety reasons and also for time and texture, if you're going to ground any meat, chicken, deer, whatever, you need to make sure and ground it at a temperature no higher than 35 degrees. Because what happens going through the grinder,
it's going to heat it up.
It's going to heat it up, and that fat is going to smear, and it's going to make for a really, really awful tasting burger. It's not going to hold the seasoning, and it's not going to hold its shape. So I'll tell you guys what I do. When I take all my brisket trim, I'll freeze it overnight.
Okay.
And when I take it out the next morning, I'll temp it. it should be damn near frozen like a block of ice, but you
Mhm.
can still cut through it with your cleaver and
Gotcha.
chunk it. My actual grinder head, I put it in the freezer, completely assembled. So the meat is cold
And the
and the
grinder's
grinder
cold.
head is cold because that way the fat stays together like this. Once fat starts to pull apart, you can't put it back together.
Right.
You just can't. If you guys ever seen somebody cook a burger like in a flat top or a pan
Yeah.
and all this stuff comes oozing out,
Yeah.
that's all the fat and proteins coming out of it. That's
Yeah.
why burgers come out so much better over a flame grill. So if you grind cold, and you always want to keep out of that danger zone, you know. But if you grind cold, take your grinding head, put it in the freezer, and that's the way you do it. And the way to clean out your grinder head is you take some ice chips, not whole cubes, because you can end up breaking your grinder. Take ice
Yeah.
chips, and you pour down the throat, and it'll push the rest of that meat out. This way, you're not stuck with 5 or 6 ounces worth of good ground in the
Mm.
head. And
Yeah.
you need to add water to your product anyway, especially if you're going to make sausage, if you're going to make burgers. So what I do, even after my grind, I put it back in the freezer. And it's annoying because your hands get numb. I
Yeah.
take it out, I portion it up, I put it back in the freezer. So I'm always keeping that temperature low. And
Yeah.
then
Wow.
with
Makes
my
sense.
burger press, I will take my burger press head that comes off, I will put that in the freezer. And again, when I take it out, I put it in, and everything's cold as I'm pressing the burgers. Everything's nice and cold. It
Okay.
forms, stays together, and let me tell you, you can't beat it. And I can tell you guys where I'd learned this from. So everybody knows Wendy's, the burger, the company, right?
For
Restaurant.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So Dave Thomas, before he passed, he lived in West Palm Beach.
Hmm.
I had the ultimate pleasure of sitting down with him for about an hour.
I
This
remember
guy
the
was
story. Yes.
this
This is
guy's
great.
adopted. That's why his whole thing with donating money to the adoption agency is really big. But let me tell you, this guy is so smart. And believe it or not, if it wasn't for Colonel Sanders, KFC, we would not have a Wendy's because Dave Thomas worked for KFC before he started his own thing.
So he worked at KFC and was like, you know what, I can do this.
Yeah, but he just went a different
Yeah.
route.
I'm gonna
But
open my
Dave,
own shop.
and a lot of people don't know it and they think it's a funny or it's a rumor. But you know, people always ask, well, why is Wendy's burger patty square?
Hmm.
Believe it or not, Dave Thomas did not believe in cutting corners. So if you take the corners
Really?
off a square patty, you'll get
Yeah, the round burger or whatever,
right.
the round patty.
So
But that would be cutting corners.
that
So
exactly.
it's like a gargantuan metaphor, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
But
it's-
the other thing that people don't realize, and that's why Wendy's is a little bit more expensive. Wendy's said in their commercials, they never freeze their patties. They don't. So their transportation has to be on time
for sure.
and more frequently, which causes it to be more expensive.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, if you ever listen, he will go down as probably one of the greatest people I've ever met. And when I talked to the guy, when I talked to him, we probably talked about food for about 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
The rest was about life and business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
And at the end of it, I didn't care to talk about food. I was like, you know what? I learned so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a cool dude.
Oh,
No, I get that. When you meet somebody that's that truly fascinating, like you just want to follow the conversation wherever it goes.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things where somebody say, "Well, would you rather have $10,000 or sit with Dave Thomas for an hour?" Believe it or not, I sit with Dave Thomas for an hour.
I believe that. Yeah, you don't got to convince me on that one.
Nope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, again, even when it comes to producing a bourbon barbecue sauce. And anything that I decide I'm gonna put my hands into, I try my best not to cut corners, and it costs me money. It
Sure.
really costs me money sometimes.
Well,
Like,
we
I
all
could
can taste
see-
the difference, man.
I could see it in my bottom line because
No.
I could buy a $2,000 smoker,
Mhm.
but of course the ones that I got coming, they're like $12,000 and $15,000 a piece.
I'll bet.
And the wait list is.
I remember when a few years ago when you were picking up your first big one, you were getting it ready and stuff like that. Just watching that growth, man. I love it. I absolutely love it.
So, it's just, but listen, again, you guys have been a big part of my success. I really, really can't thank you guys enough. And special shout out to my guy, Jody. I don't know if he's listening or not, but Jody's been we've
spoken way too nicely of him.
Yeah, right.
Here, you know what I mean?
He's not going to believe he's going to have to come back and watch the show.
That's the guy, a little old fashioned.
Yeah,
hey there, sir.
Damn.
Thank you for joining us. Little old fashioned.
I gotta find him on YouTube.
Seriously, yeah. Apparently, he's got a pretty good show, so we're gonna shout him out too.
Chuck, you guys, Jody, you guys have been such a huge success, part of my success. So I can shout out to you guys.
Hey, dude,
we're happy to be here. Oh man, we're pissed. I wasn't even paying attention. I was just enjoying myself.
Talk to me, brother.
If it wasn't any good, we would not buy it.
I know.
Seriously. Dude, the shit is good.
And I appreciate that.
We're like addicts, dude. We can't get a freaking enough, man. It's like I gotta get where's my Cafe 305?
And
this stuff is like great.
I know you guys have enjoyed the product and I know it's good. It's just I never let that be my catalyst to ever get to the point to where I feel like
don't rest on your laurels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know we're at the top of the hour, but I'll just give you guys a couple of things. So for instance, when we get to be like really, really big, some of the things that I already have written in the bylaws, like
bylaws, that's cool.
Yeah, like I'm that serious about it. So for instance, if you work for Cafe 305, on your birthday, you're not allowed to be in the building. You'll get paid, but you're not allowed to. I'm not going to work on my birthday. Listen, this is barbecue sauce and barbecue at the very best. This is not heart surgery. I'm not going to yell at anybody.
No one's going to die if you're not there making barbecue. You know what I mean?
Let's say if you're the head of shipping, right? As the head of shipping, it's your job to know one personal thing about everybody in your department. Personal, not work-wise.
No, got it.
Personal. You need to know.
You need to know your people. Like, you need to know your team. Like I get that, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. If you work it
doesn't matter.
If you work on Monday, you're off on Friday. If you work on Friday, you're off on Monday. Everybody's working 4 days. This is not. Listen. 4:45 is assholes and elbows out the door.
Man, that's not the life I'm living anymore, unfortunately. Because so before when I was working in service department, it's like, okay, well, I work 6 to 2:30. 2:30, we're all standing at the time clock. We're ready to hit that button. And now that I'm in IT, it's like I work 8 to 5. It's like 5:05. And we're still up here in the office, and everyone's still talking about the problems they're working on. I'm over here like, I don't want to be the asshole, but aren't we supposed to leave now?
No.
And that's just the life of IT people.
And I understand that, but here's the thing: for me and what I feel and believe in, I want you to be home with your family.
Yeah.
I don't want you at the company because you know why? I'm not going to be there.
Yeah,
I'm not.
It's a work-life balancing. There's actually
listen. That kind of stuff will kill people.
Yeah,
every day
has and does. Yes,
this was some late last year. The chick I think in California died at her cubicle, and they didn't find her for like 2 or 3 days.
No, see, I will not ever be that person. And I know people. There's a guy, my old manager at my work, and I know I have work friends who may actually start watching this show now. Between you meeting my old boss and some other people I've talked to about this show, I do have I'm going to save it for the next episode because I got a request. But some of the people I work with, they're like my old manager. He's like, I sleep 4 hours a night, and I basically live at this job. It is my entire life, front to back. I'm like, no.
Never.
Love what you do. Have passion about whatever your profession is, 100%. But be a human. Like, you don't even know what or who you are outside of your job. And to me, that is like one of the most depressing thoughts I can even conceptualize.
They will replace you within 2 hours.
Well, not where I work, because they are super shit at that. But
seriously,
normally speaking,
think about it. Your company will replace
your
you
company does not
within
care
2
about,
hours.
Yeah, your livelihood, basically, in sense of well-being.
You know,
they don't care about the bottom
whether it's an upgrade or more likely a downgrade.
Wear yourself
replaced
upon that altar,
or another person making your decisions.
Success. What companies are notorious for doing? They will take your position and split it between 3 or 4 people.
Yeah,
and
not
pay
hire
you the same shit money.
Increase your workload and not give you any more money for it. 100%.
For me, even at this early stage, I've thought so far in advance. When I say I have 100 people working for me, and we're just cranking out this sauce by the truckloads. Listen, at 3:05 p.m., don't you put that cap on that bottle. Sit that shit down. Let's go outside for 10 minutes. Let's talk as a group.
Yeah.
And we're not allowed to talk about work. I don't care if somebody flies a goddamn kite. Let's just do something. Throw a football.
Yeah.
For 15 minutes.
In my department now, we do it's typically sometimes it changes, but typically Thursdays we do like team lunch. We all go out, we all have lunch together. Whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is you're into, unless it is like absolutely critical, you just take a break and we all go and we sit and commune with each other and have a meal. Like, and it honestly, like, morale wise and just like feeling good about where I work, like that's been fucking awesome. Versus like,
of course,
you have 30 minutes for lunch. If it's 31 minutes, it's gonna be your ass kind of thing. Like
right job.
I mean, seriously, like up and down, like that's like the night and day kind of experience.
Yeah. So again, it's just those things I've already thought about as a group. All right, what you got to say?
Take my team to lunch. They said, "What for?" They don't get it. They don't get it out in Colorado. I like Colorado. I was actually thinking about moving out there, but I don't know when you're talking like that.
Yeah, no.
Anyway,
too much
instead of taking my team to lunch, I'd rather take a couple of $100, whatever it is, a couple of $1,000, walk around the warehouse and give out $100 bill. I will not give a pizza party. I'll give a pizza party and still give you a $100 bill.
Dude,
pizza party.
I really want you to meet my old manager. The same guy I said sleeps 4 hours a night and lives at his job. We did something when I was still in the service department, when I was doing the server repair stuff. So we achieved something that I won't get into too much into details, but like we kind of hit a milestone for basically kicking ass at our jobs.
Mm-hmm.
We did really well. We worked our asses off. Some other things came in that we don't have any control over, but like it all worked out. And they're like, we're going to reward you with a pizza party. That pizza party turned into a lecture,
never did
an interrogation, and having a bunch more work dumped on us as part of this. And I'm going, I can buy myself a fucking pizza. Like, I have $15. Like, I could have done this and not eaten shit.
And get a pizza for $10.
I could have not eaten shit for an hour and been interrogated.
I'll
for not getting a piece of pizza.
What I did with my guys in the after show.
I'm like what?
Yeah.
Like, there's some folks that really just don't get it.
Yeah,
it's
they
not.
don't get it.
I don't mean that as an attack. I'm more like I'm sad for the people who do that rather than I'm angry about it. Like,
and
it makes me sad.
the easiest convenient thing for them to do.
Yeah, it was.
I was different as a manager, and I will talk about that in the after show.
And you shall be, and we shall go to the after show because we're at 105. I didn't even know we were going to do a show 3 hours ago, and now here we are just running.
Here we are.
There you go.
I love all you guys. All the people.
Happy 2025.
Happy motherfucking 2024 or 2025.
Five. Come on, Dave.
Happy end of 2024. I guess I've had a few.
Gotcha.
On an empty stomach. But yeah, much love to everybody. Billy, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
comments, Jack Frost,
Who?
Good Old Fashioned, and just everyone else who
Good
joined.
old fashioned's cool.
Chuck and Daniel Barry, all you folks, thank you for joining and commenting. It always makes it more fun. Good Old Fashioned says Happy New Year. Happy New Year, sir. Guys, be good to yourselves, right? Not to steal your line. But much love. Take care of yourselves, Billy. I know your family's going through some
Have
stuff
a great
right
week,
now.
everybody. Have a great week.
Thoughts are with you, absolutely. Have a great week. We'll see you guys next time. We're going to the after show.
Later, guys.
Boom.
Cheers.